That is one of the signals that we include as we look back in time to figure out people who have been consistently botting. Let's see. Somebody, let's see, keep going. Oh, I know. Henry Ohm, can you explain once again the whole viewer list and lurkers discussion that people question about? Thank you for the question. First of all, lurkers are counted in your view count. Lurkers are counted in your view count. Lurkers are counted in your view count. There is nothing where they are limited in any way, shape, or form. There is a list called the chatters list. Now, the chatters list are people that are connected to chat. People can connect to chat without watching video. In fact, a lot of times bots connect to chat. In fact, many streamers connect bots to chat. And there are other bots that might come and connect to chat. But it may look as a user with a username. If you are a bot and you're connected to chat and you're not watching video, that doesn't count as a view count. If the chatters list interesting, you're just looking at people connected to chat. It refreshes at a different cycle. And there are a number of bots that might be connected that are not watching it. So it's misleading when you look at your chatter list and think these are people that are chatting. Actually, it has nothing to do with whether or not you chat. It only has to do with whether there is a connection to the chatter list. And frequently there are various reasons why there'll be connections to the chatter list where someone is not watching the stream. And so CCV, actually, it cares about, are you watching the stream? That's what it cares about. And so the chatter list can be a little confusing for some people, especially for smaller creators, because the chatter list caps out at about 500 viewers. And so it can be confusing for smaller creators. Let's see. If you've been Twitch, it's in them. All right, I'm trying to answer general questions here. Let's see. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not going to answer questions about individual streamers and their status, okay? In general, we do not talk about any specific streamers and any specific decisions, whether it's a ban or not a ban or whatever. We don't talk about that. So I know some people have been asking specific questions about specific. The Destiny thing was not about a decision there, it was about an error. So I do not answer, and we do not answer questions about specific streamers. So that's why I'm not doing that. All right, looking there. A number of people are saying I'm ignoring that, but I explained that. So in this, one of the things that does matter a lot to Twitch is the fact that there are continually new creators coming on board and new creators growing. Interestingly, you see that in terms of our top creators. Many of the top creators were not top creators 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. That doesn't mean there still isn't a challenge for smaller creators being discovered, okay, and helping them find new viewers. And we are continually looking for ways to help those creators find an audience, find a community, because it makes a big difference as you are finding a community. One of the things, the question I'm often answer is, what should I do if I'm a smaller creator? One of the things I always encourage you to do is participate in other smaller channels. So I often talk about what I say is a factor of 10 factor. Be an authentic member of someone's community, and they should be within a factor of 10 of your CCV. And often then other members of that community will start watching your stream. That creator will raid you. I've done this myself for many smaller creators that watch my channel. I'm not a big streamer, but you know, they may be a 10 or a 20 CCV channel, and I see them and I know they're in my chat all the time. So when I see them up there, then I raid them back and forth. So I often encourage people to be authentic members of channels That builds a connection with other creators. Those creators rate them. Those creators collaborate with them. So that's one of the things I
know what's wrong with this website.
Someone asked, would you ever consider bringing back moments? It feels like the streamers that would have used it the most never got access during the testing, and then it was canceled before it was pushed to the rest of Twitch. Nevic Link, absolutely. It's one of these features. Sometimes there's certain features that I think work well for some things, but there's some problems. And I think one of the mistakes we've made in the past is sometimes we don't iterate and correct the problems. One of the problems with Moments was it was built on a completely separate infrastructure. So it became very hard. It was creating these new objects, which are moments. So one of the things that we absolutely want to do as we're investing more in clips is we want to help capture this idea when there is a clip of a moment and you were there, that you have that sense of having been there, so that way, if a clip becomes really popular, we know who's there, and it's really a moment, and that you can identify the moments that you are at and the streams that you are at. And so this is absolutely one of the things. We're investing a lot in trying to leverage the community for the short form content that we're creating. And I think the Moments idea was one such feature. Also looking at some of the other features, I know a lot of people have asked about this, and I definitely hear that. The hosting feature was one thing that I think had a number of benefits, and we're looking at ways to address some of the shortcomings of the hosting features, so that way it can drive some of the benefits that it did. So let's see. Right now, the main way to grow is by growing off-plan. Maybe a built-in editing system for clips so that story clips are more engaging rather than raw clips. So Moki Live, one of the things that we're investing a fair amount in is to make it easier for smaller streamers to create short-form content. It is the fact that short-form content is a more effective means to be exposed to new creators. And that can be both on Twitch and off Twitch. So one thing that we need to do to help our smaller creators is to make short-form content a more meaningful part of the experience on Twitch, and also make it easy for smaller creators to create clips. So we've talked in the past about auto clips, and this is something we're going to be talking more about at TwitchCon. But auto clips is trying to detect signals that will tell us where is a good clip in the stream. One of the ways they'll do it is by listening to the audio, and if I say clip that, then it detects that as I, as a streamer, might want you to clip it. We're also looking where moderators can help do this, but we're also looking at other signals such as chat and many other signals to automatically generate clips. And here is the vision. The way we want to make it is that when you're done streaming, within a few minutes of the stream being done, when you receive your stream summary, you should be able to just quickly scan a number of clips from your stream, quickly share them for stories. This is part of our recap vision, where we want to make it that after every stream, you can quickly find 3 to 5 of the best clips from that stream. And this is sort of like a highlights roll from that stream. And that is something that becomes an entity in of itself. Your community that missed your stream can then catch up on the stream. And we can use those signals to find out which are your best clips, to surface them in the clips feed, and also to make it easy for you and your community to then share them on third-party social media platforms. We've already made it easier for you to share on third-party social media. We made it easier for your community to share. And one of the things many people have highlighted here is we want to make it so also you can reward your community for sharing streams of yours. So I absolutely think this is a big part of our strategy, and it's really important for helping smaller streamers grow, is to make it easy for them to create short-form content when they're done streaming. Where do you see Twitch in 5 years? This is from NiXMZ. A lot of times people often like to describe how everything's different in 5 years. And often when I'm asked this question, I like to talk about how what will be the same, because I expect a lot of what people love about Twitch today will be the same in 5 years. The foundation of Twitch are streamers. This makes us different than other social media platforms. The affinity that our viewers have are with the streamers, and we keep that front and center. And we allow the streamers to build the communities that are the foundation of Twitch. I do believe that short form content will matter more on Twitch, and that will make it easier for smaller streamers to create content, share on third-party social media, and share within Twitch. I also think we'll see an evolution where you can maintain your community even if you have less time to stream. I think one of the challenges that people have, especially when they have a full-time job, is maintaining their community even if they can only stream 5, 6, 7 hours a week. And one thing we want to do is make it easy for you to build and maintain a community even when you have less time. Let's see. Can you do a horseback riding stream where you dress up like a cowboy? That sounds like a fun stream. How does Twitch plan to promote itself to bring in new viewers? The foundation of us promoting ourselves is our streamers. This is something we're doing in our own social media platform, where our focus there is very much focused on highlighting our streamers. And the reason people come to Twitch is because of our streamers. We're looking at other ways that we can help promote our streamers, because that is why people show up and come to Twitch, because they build an affinity with a streamer, and that's also why they come back. Let's see. So somebody says, is it true that certain streamers can contact you directly to request streamers that are and have been banned to stay banned despite the platform's current mindset on bans? Absolutely not, Senshi Manny. Nobody can contact me to express their views on whether or not someone should remain banned or not. It is the fact that at times people reach out to me through various channels if they feel they have been incorrectly banned. And I always try to take the time to follow up to see if for some reason we made a mistake, or to help them understand when they can apply to be readmitted. We have a formal process of application for indefinite bans, because they're indefinite. And sometimes people don't understand the timeline. And so I do try to help, and these are almost always smaller streamers. They tell me their story, and I work with the team. But the team in the end makes that decision. I do not make that decision. It's just putting a spotlight to try and then what I do is work on the team to make sure that our appeal system works, so that if people are incorrectly banned that are smaller, we go ahead and fix that. Let's see. Let's see, held a message. I'm looking. Let's see. How does Twitch know if viewbots are made by the streamer? I know it's most likely is true, but there can be slim chance that the streamer is not the one that is viewbotting his stream. Kadia is something I talked about a little bit earlier. And one thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to go ahead and revisit some of the questions earlier, because I realize some people may not have been here then, and it's useful to quickly revisit some of those questions. So we are looking across time at a behavior. And in general, when somebody is attacking someone, they do it irregularly. They don't always know when someone's live. They don't necessarily do it for months on end, and other factors. So if you look over time, and also there's the manner in which the viewbots attack, you actually can get a pretty good sense for which of these bots are being perpetrated by the streamer, or they're someone who is advocating for them. We absolutely are using that to try and determine when someone or their agent or someone who is acting on their behalf is in some way responsible for the bots. Let's see. Dan, hope you're doing well. Can IRL streamers coming to TCU bring a proper backpack due to carrying gear? Thank you. I don't want to be the official, but I believe we have a process, because a lot of people do bring proper backpacks for IRL streaming. I am not an expert on those policies. So, but I know that IRL streaming is important. We do have new regulations around that, so those will be deployed. Let's see, let me go down to the bottom here. Can you please let us turn off entire categories? Thanks for the suggestion, Bulb Bag. I'll add that. User voice is a good way to add those particular suggestions, but I'll remember that and add that in for the team. Yeah, fat cap. I think I just answered your question about determining when they're being attacked. We think there are a fair number of signals when you look in retrospect. Of course, there's going to be a lot of changes, and we're going to be working and adapting to these changes. I'm not going to talk about any individual streamer actions right now. So let me do one thing here. Here, I know what I'm going to do. 1 second. All right. There, I got a new thing there. Whoops, I brought something up for this. Sorry about the echo. All right, I think I might revisit some of the bot questions. Let's see. Let's see. All right, there, that's good. I'm just scanning to see. Is it a sign of viewbotting if a streamer raid is far less than their amount of viewers? There are a lot of things that go into the raid in terms of them coming over. It actually could be a sign of viewbotting as one of the factors there too. So that page from Twitch, add stats, end of URL. Many people use stat data from third parties that is wrong. Can we get official stat pages? We need to be careful of sharing information that is internal from different people. So we should see how we can help you with that. Would you consider a feature where a viewer cap choose to play an ad for themselves? Viewer might pick a time so the ad doesn't come at any time. Certainly, we've always looking at these kind of viewer-centric ads that way it adapts to viewers' preferences. Who's putting bots in a stream? People are doing it to screw with other streamers. So right now, Palmer, the loot gobbler, I think one thing that is happening is both bot companies and potentially other third parties are creating a lot of noise in the system, and we've seen this. And that's one thing that we've been detecting, and we think some of these techniques will help solve that. For those people that were not here earlier, let me highlight one of the things that we announced today that we are going to be doing. We're going to be launching the ability for streamers to apply a cap to their stream if they feel like they're being botted. So this is where a streamer feels like they're being botted. They can go in, go to the stream manager. They decide what they think should be the right cap based upon their historic CCV. If they get it too low, in the end, it won't hurt them in terms of ads running or in terms of community, because people won't be turned away. So in terms of monetization, it won't hurt them. So this will be something that viewers will be able to do, and we're going to launch that fairly soon. Okay. Yeah, somebody says, I reported so many channels that were promoting viewbots, and all the responses, emails, we haven't found anything wrong. That is a problem with some of the reporting in terms of how that response is being occurred in the system. And we're looking at that because that's a misleading response. And so thank you for reporting those people, and we are using that as a signal, especially as we detect some of the attacks we've had right now. All right, I am thinking I'm thinking it is beneficial for me to go back to some of the top level things that I started with. And I know for some of you this will be repetition, but I realize some of you weren't here at the beginning. So I'm going to fly through some of the biggest questions that people have asked and just answer again, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Okay? I'm seeing if I see other questions that I should get. What about people recording someone's gameplay without their permission? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and quickly go through some of the top level points, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Sorry I didn't get to all the questions, but hopefully I got to a number of them, but I couldn't get to all of them. Again, as I mentioned, we don't talk about individual trust and safety actions, so I'm not going to talk about any of the individual questions there. So first of all, to summarize the high level point, view botting is something that we continually work to fight against. It does not benefit us in any way. It hurts the creator ecosystem. Anyone suggests that Twitch likes view bots, it's simply wrong. Okay. Unfortunately, fighting view bots is hard. Three main reasons it's hard. One, as we detect view bots, it's critical that we make sure we do not over detect, because view bots are trying to mimic real users, and we don't want to eliminate real users from the view count. Okay. Number two, as we deploy real-time detection techniques, the viewbot companies then adapt to those real-time detection, because they in fact have accounts where they're looking at what we're doing and then they respond. And the third problem is we need to be able to determine if the streamer is culpable in terms of any suspensions or enforcement actions that we might take of that nature. Okay. Ads, separate. We have a separate system that detects ad fraud and bots on ads. It builds upon Amazon's system. Amazon has a large investment in invalid traffic detection. We use our own techniques. And it's really important for us to make sure that these bots are not affecting ads. And it's a separate system, in part because it can look retrospectively. Okay. So let me go to a few of the high level. Why not just eliminate view bots from the CCV calculation? We do have real-time detection. Real-time detection is when we get the ping, we eliminate it. Bot companies adapt to that. Our cap is designed as a solution to that, because as opposed to deploying a lot of our detection real-time, we will be looking over time and looking at statistical anomalies in terms of the behavior to determine which channels are being botted.
Sounds reasonable.
What the cap should be. When we deploy a cap, that will be applied across the stream. We will include some buffer, okay? And we're going to make sure that we are detecting those channels that either them or their agents are actively supporting the botting, okay? One of the questions, why not just ban view botters immediately? So first of all, when it's clear someone is culpable for this and is committing ad fraud, we do ban people. We also turn off monetization for people when we see this, okay?
Stuff to drink.
So we do that. However, when you have a streamer that has legitimate traffic, it is difficult to determine if that streamer is the one that is sending the bots. And we need to ensure that bots cannot be used to attack streamers. So that is one of the things that we need to be careful about, so that we do not negatively impact streamers that are playing by the rules. Explain how the cap will work. I think we've done that. Let me see. We'll announce when it is capping channels. When we announce when it's capping channels, we're not going to say exactly when. We don't want people to be planning and adapting. And we will be able to leverage historical information. So just because they've been historically botting does not mean they will avoid detection. In fact, it makes it easier because we have specific information from previous detection techniques that we have deployed. Let's see. Let me go through. I think that goes through the high-level points. And so let's see. I think we've covered. I'm seeing if there's any other questions at the end here. I know there are a lot of questions in here. Asteroid, in terms of how does viewbotting negatively affect the viewer? Thanks for asking the question. Our concern with viewbotting is creators are concerned. And I talked about this before, and I think that maybe that's one thing that I'll wrap up on is one of the things that I said before. The impact in general, people say, I've heard people say, oh, I would view bot. Absolutely, that is bad advice. First of all, it is a form of fraud. You're deceiving your community. And so in no way, shape, or form do I think it's something anyone should be doing. The foundation of Twitch is your relationship with your community. As you bot, in some ways, you're deceiving your community in terms of the number of people that are there. So I don't think that's a good idea. And also, view botting actually is not very effective at getting real viewers. Only 7% of our traffic is driven by the Discover and Browse tabs. And for that, 60% of that 7% is in recommended sort order. Anyone that has used recommended sort order, bots do not affect the recommended sort order. ACDSee does not. So you're not getting increased viewership there. And we've seen this where we've seen these people that are botting, that it has not been very effective at growing their real viewership. And we see this consistency where we don't see their real viewership growing. So I actually don't think it is a very effective techniques in terms of growing. I'm not saying there's zero impact, but in general, it is not as great as many people have suggested. And you are defrauding your viewers and any of your sponsors. So don't think it's a good idea. However, our job is to work to detect and eliminate it. I feel pretty confident that the cap is going to have a meaningful impact on this, and streamers are going to have to adjust, and that I think we'll still have people creating noise in the ecosystem because there are lots of companies out there, but I think it'll be very effective at helping to address this problem, but we'll continue to be looking at other interventions that could address the problem. So with that, I think it's about time to wrap it up. I'm going to see if there are any last minute questions in here. Let me just see, I need to make this bigger. Just see. All right. Full transparency on enforcements. I'm not sure about that. All right. Time to wrap it up. I need to raid somebody. And I'm going to raid a smaller streamer. Let me just see. Hold on a second. I need to look over. I'm going to raid, show more. Everybody's been asking about smaller streamers. I have a number of them that I follow. A lot of them are music streamers. Maisie.
Anyways, that was kind of interesting. You're talking about botting and such. There's not much in the way of code and such for this. So I think that's part of the problem that I've been having with trying to get this working. So let's go into the C++ files here. Histogram. Oh, this is the same as the CHM file. This thing. Yeah, it's probably the same. Whoops. It's taking precedence. What is going on? Does it have like a thing where it's going on top of every other window? Just leave it for now. Hmm. It's not much. Structures. I don't see any mention of the tags. Nope. Man. Mm. Well, I did some more of a guessing game of trying to figure out how to properly adjust things. It's broken. Dang. I don't think I have any tools here to... There's not much there. I could always email them or something, but I don't know. Actually, it's in the C++ code here. This is... Oh, no, it's not. It's in the C# code. Hmm. Whoops. So I don't need these. Make this change a suggesting and then go from there. I'll have to start doing my own research. Thing is, I should probably just edit the photos at this point. It's taken multiple days to even get the base of this thing going. This was extracted from one of the images. This should define all the changes, and you'd think it'd be relatively easy at that point. Let's see what we're doing here. I'll go to the next one. So pushing it into here. And this is doing regular expression adjustment. There's got to be a better way to do that. Is that right? This doesn't seem right. It's got normal tags up here. Just inside. This is doing like multiple levels of tags. It's right here. I'll give it stuff up here. See if it likes that. Or I mean, if it figures anything out from that, because it looks odd to me. Oh, never mind. I just hit the compute limit. Yep. Didn't work. I should have told it to summarize. I don't think I have any tools, like I said, that I can use to do it locally. Well, I take that back. We could use Claude. It's not an agentic coding thing, though. Here. Get rid of that. Take this. I'm going to try to add all of the project files. Okay, I can't do it that way. I'm making drag drop. You can only add 20 files. Okay, that's not useful. Okay, no, all right. There's a different area to add files. I guess I could try adding this project files too. That's probably good. I can also add my project documents. Start chat to keep conversation, something, something. Okay, how do I start chat then? Start a chat. New chat. Code. Here it is. Let's see. Claude should be pretty smart, but it's another update. Yeah, I'm not paying money. Let's see. So let me update this just in case. I don't know what happened to it. Just vanished. I click update and I don't see it on any of my screens. Oh, here we go. Showed back up. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh. Switch over here for a second. Oops. How do I minimize that? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Okay, there we go. Burst off. Else BG. Where was it? Dispose. Right here. All right. Next. Normalize XML entities. Batch processor. Okay. Save. Next. Replace the if statement with that. All right, next. Build a run test. Okay. Let's go into here. I'm going to delete the old log. There's only one file copied. It's probably fine. go into here. Let's go with the dog one. Well, no, let's go with this one. Nope. Did I miss stuff? Wait a second. Did I miss all of this? Let me check. No, I think that's in there. Okay. Let's go into, whoops, here. Okay. All the way down to where any changes. This. Okay. So I forgot to close. Hopefully that doesn't cause an issue. Seems like it unloads it after running it, so it's probably fine. Work, please. Nope. Try a different one. Oops. Delete the script. I mean the log. Can't spell. I don't think that's correct. I think it's just going every which way. Kind of slow. Mm. I'm surprised I messed something up. Stupid. Can I just copy it, please? Yeah, they don't really give you much rate limit stuff. Just did one file. Let's see if it compiles. Yeah, it compiled. That's nice. I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna work. And yeah. Yeah, this is kind of useless log information. Let's try a different one. This should have an exposure adjustment. Yeah, nothing. Oops. Okay, this is different. Okay, that was nice. $92. Okay, so it's this one. I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't show any updates. One thing I've tried before was excluding this folder from the database. Let's try it again on this one. Nope. Still feel like something's off. Oh. Let me see. Nah, that didn't work anymore. So definitely the code regressed because it was working on these. Let's try two of them. That is strange. So when I had two of them selected, change them. And it showed the marker for changes. But why? And the white balance has changed. But why? That's good data, but why? I think the AI is just writing crap code, and I haven't put forth the effort to look through it and figure out what the actual problem is. All right, let's see if Gemini Pro can figure it out again. It hasn't before, so I have my doubts, but it's kind of adjusting things in a way that hopefully will get the right mix of data together that the thing can figure it out. I still don't know why these are escaped. whether that up here, maybe it could be a tag within a tag. So if we look for the first instance of this, which would be skin tune. Hmm. Don't even see that in there. This is the correct file. Okay. So I wanted to change. Well, let's minimize that. tools. That's a good sign. Please work. Actually darkened the photo. Although the thing is, I removed those from the database. So how do I add those back and see if that... There we go. Close. Let's just change again. Yes. Oh man. It's much worse, but it worked. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's good enough for now. I'm going to probably keep working on this, but I don't need to stream it at the moment. It's getting kind of late. So that's cool. Gemini Pro was the one that did it. Figured it out. right. Yeah. I think I'm good for now. I can show my prompt before I send it off, but that's good progress. Hopefully this is what I'm gonna basically trying to figure out how to get white balance correct, which is probably going to have to get into research of it, because even ACDSee itself struggles with auto white balance. So that's going to be the main thing. And that's always the thing that I've spent so much time and effort trying to fix in post before I publish, before I upload photos. So if I can get that working, that'll be huge. A huge benefit. Very good benefit and time-saving benefit. So yeah, I think I'm good for now. See ya. Peace.